He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said earlier.
You got hit behind the line of scrimmage. You got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were
Yo, what's up, bro?
Hurts won't be even if they're the 1 seed.
Can you have them send me? I asked like 5 times for the fucking VMix numbers for the guests.
Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. In-game live game day has begun. I am Gabriel Morency on the SportsGrid radio and television network. Let's do this thing. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. We've got a football feast this evening as we wrap up the National Football League triple header. There is a college football game with playoff implications, actually. People aren't talking about Navy, but Navy are actually still alive and could. I don't think they will make the playoffs. They would need to win. They need Tulane. They need Tulane to lose, so they need some things to happen to the North Texas and the Tulane game, but they're still in it, right? And they're down 3-0 right now. The Dallas Cowboys are evidently still in it. The Cowboys just won again. They beat both teams. They beat both conference champions from last year, the 2 Super Bowl participants. The Cowboys just beat in a 4-day span. Super impressive run for the Dallas Cowboys, and the Wicked Witch of the West might actually be done in the Kansas City Chiefs, as the Chiefs are 6-6 and have big-time problems as far as the playoffs are concerned. But we've got a football game coming up, Baltimore and Cincinnati this evening, an AFC North tilt. The Cincinnati Bengals season is done. The Ravens haven't had the best year this year, but they're starting to put it on track right now that they're getting healthier. And it's a big game for them as far as the division is concerned. So Bengals, as we stated, the Bengals this season has just been like a complete disaster for them. And in fact, I saw Aaron Schatz write an article earlier in the day today about the Cincinnati Bengals defense is actually the worst defense in the National Football League since 1978. Now, Aaron is, one of those football outsider guys and into the DVOAs and all that type of stuff. But according to the metrics and the numbers, the Cincinnati Bengal defense, the worst defense since 1978 in the National Football League. They do give up the most points in the league, 32.7 points per game, just for the record. So they're 3-8. They're 4-7 against the spread. Ravens are 6-5, but they're only 4-7 against the spread as well. But it's hard to judge the Ravens this year because, Lamar Jackson wasn't playing. Cincinnati, their defense is terrible. Therefore, they are 6-4-1 to the over. The Ravens are 7-4 to the over. The Bengals have been a bad road underdog 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games as a road dog. But, of course, Joe Burrow is back tonight. But, Joe Burrow was always injured in the preseason and in training camp, and he normally struggles. Like, Burrow is the type of dude. Normally it takes him a couple of games to dial it up and to get it going. So, I just figured I'd throw some of those numbers out there. But this is a number that just sort of blew my mind as far as trends are concerned for Thanksgiving primetime games. There's been 18 of them. We haven't done this forever, right, where they added the night game. It was a good idea to do it, but they haven't been doing it forever. So the favorites, guys, are 15-3 straight up. 15-3 straight up. 14-4 against the spread, including 8 straight wins and covers, which is pretty wild. The Baltimore Ravens, of course, were 7-point favorites in this football game tonight. There's been a history of the Thanksgiving primetime game staying under the number, 12-6 to the under in the 18 games, including 8 of the last 10 Thanksgiving primetime games. The nightcaps have gone under the number for whatever reason. But with that being stated, 7 of the last 9 times that the Ravens and the Bengals have played, it's gone over the number. So there are a couple of trends to throw your way to make you think about this football game. Now, look, the underdogs have cashed today, right? So we've got 2 overs. The underdogs have won both the football games outright. The Cincinnati Bengals would be a bold pick to win this football game outright tonight. Now, for the record, I have the Baltimore Ravens in a survivor. I'm still alive in a survivor, playing for $251,000. And I'm on the Baltimore Ravens tonight. So I'm going to have a very vested interest this evening in the Baltimore Ravens. Do I love them tonight? Not really. It scares me that Joe Burrow is coming back this evening. No T. Higgins. Jamar Chase is there. So, of course, Jamar Chase got suspended for the spitting incident. Hendrickson isn't playing. So, as we stated, I think Cincinnati are going to score, but the Bengals' defense is terrible. And if you look at the history of these two teams, it's always a track meet. Cincinnati has had a really hard time stopping Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens offense, specifically on the ground. I think Derrick Henry's going to have a big game tonight. So let's get to some of our picks here this evening. So like I said, I like the Ravens to win the game. I think there's going to be points put up on the board in this game. So let's go with a Ravens 7-point teaser to the over. So Ravens win the game over 45.5. Now, I do think the game is going to go over the 52.5 on its own as well. But do I think the Ravens are going to cover the 7? Probably. I kind of come back to I keep coming back to the same type of score, like 38-17, 38-21 type of deal. I do think Baltimore will put points up on the board, but I would expect that Cincinnati will be able to score as well. Derrick Henry, I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Derrick Henry. The Bengals cannot stop the run. And if you look at the numbers of the Baltimore Ravens during this win streak, they're kind of keeping it simple, stupid, by just giving the ball to Derrick Henry, right? And, it's very let's run the ball. Let's play, sort of a more conservative style of football, and it's been working for them. So I would expect Henry, same thing, that he's going to get a lot of carries tonight. If you look at his workload as of late, last week, 21 carries. The week before, 18 carries. The week before, 20 carries, 19 carries, 21 carries, 24 carries. Earlier in the year, it was 11 carries, 12 carries, 9 carries. The attempts are way up. I like his rushing attempt over tonight. Now, it was 17.5, but it's gone up to 18.5 right now. But I could still see him getting 19, 20 attempts. But I do think he goes off this evening. He had 21 carries, 64 yards last week. We had 103 the week before, 75 before that, $119, 71, 122. He's sort of, in fact, look, he's alternated these big 100-plus games with his mid-tier game. So he's due for one of the big ones. And also, I think the Ravens are going to have the lead tonight. So, therefore, they're going to start to run the more as the game goes on. So, I think it's a Derrick Henry night tonight. I like Derrick Henry to score the first touchdown of the game. Not great odds at plus 325, but I do think that Derrick Henry is going to score a touchdown this evening. Jamar Chase, So Joe Burrow is back, and he's got Jamar Chase to throw the football to. And generally, I'm not a fan of a prop at 7.5 for a wide receiver. Right, that's high. You know what I mean? To win the bet, you got to get to 8. It's like betting a strikeout prop at 7.5. It's like, man, I got to get to 8 strikeouts. But if you look at his targets, right? If you look at the amount of times that this guy is targeted, it's absolutely insanity. He's actually had 10 catches, 16 catches, 12 catches in a football game. Far this year, you got no T. Higgins. I'm expecting it to be a track meet. And Jamar Chase is going to be out for atonement tonight. He's the victim, despite the fact he spit on somebody. So I'm expecting a big game. I don't think anyone can really stop him. Now you got Burrow back. Maybe it's better off to wait for the in game here. You could say, all right, maybe it starts off slow and it goes down to 5.5 or something like that, but probably not. He's probably going to have like 6 catches in the first half, and then we'll be kicking ourselves that we didn't take it. So we got scared off because it was 7.5. So let's not get scared off by the 7.5. Tonight. Let's go with the over 7.5 for Jamar Chase receptions. And I talked about Henry. Listen, Henry's like minus 220, 225 to get into the end zone. So we'll play him to score the first touchdown of the game at plus 325. But I do believe that Jamar Chase will score. It's minus 120. It's a fair enough price. So let's go Jamar Chase to put the ball in the end zone this evening. We'll track the Memphis and Navy game. Arkansas Duke College basketball. Thanksgiving special on the grid. Let's roll.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They loved Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I
said
earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live continues. I'm Gabriel Morency. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there this evening. We appreciate you spending part of your holiday with us this evening. Hopefully it's a fruitful ending to the day today. We've had the underdogs have been barking. There has been points put up on the board today in these games. I will say the games have been entertaining, but, man, the officiating has been terrible today across the board in these two NFL football games. Hopefully the refereeing is better tonight. So Joe Burrow is back, and I think you can make an argument and wonder why they even bother bringing him back right now. I guess there's two ways of looking at it. It's like, listen, there's still a lot of football left. You're really just going to sit this guy for the next 6-7 weeks and have him stand there even though he can play, right? I guess you get him going for next year and stuff. But if you're the Bengals, I would just sort of look at this as a disastrous season. It is what it is. Keep Burrow healthy. Get a good draft pick. Pick higher picks in the draft next year and sort of start to rebuild and reload a little bit. But, we'll see. And Burrow obviously wants to play. Time will tell. But if Burrow gets injured, you're going to have to wonder why the hell they rush Burrow back to play for what? Like, what's the point? So interesting numbers that we went over as far as the unders. We talk about it a lot. These primetime games, for whatever reason, go under the number all the time. You figure the earlier the games, like, maybe earlier, they're not used to playing on a Thursday afternoon or whatnot, but we saw there was points today. We saw there was points in the Dallas game. But primetime games, for whatever reason, on Thanksgiving, 8 of the last 10 of them have gone under the number. 12 of the 18 of them as a whole. There's only been 18 of these primetime games, but 14-4 the favorites are. So I do like Baltimore in this game. I think Baltimore are going to win a game. Are they going to cover the point spread? I think they probably do. I hate laying points. I'm more of an underdog bettor, and I've been burnt today with both favorites. And I hate losing on teams that I hate. And I don't like the Kansas City Chiefs. So instead of me being in a good mood right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are basically imploded in 6-6. I'm upset because I thought they would beat the Dallas Cowboys. But hey, give credit to the Pokes. These guys, it's been a hell of a run that they've been on. So we've got a stacked house tonight on this Thanksgiving special. Mark Zeno's going to step up and in. We've got our boy Guns Picks, Mick Aussie, Sean Higgs. Like I said, we're Philly Godfather. We're locked and loaded on the program tonight as far as guests are concerned. So we'll get a bunch of different opinions and in-game bets. So to repeat the picks that I'm on here tonight, I do think Baltimore are going to cover the number. I've got Baltimore at the back end of teasers with the earlier games today still. I've got Baltimore in a survivor that's getting pretty big and interesting right now. It started off with 12,000 people, and there's less than 1,000 now. And I'm one of the less than 1,000, not the one at Circus Survivor, but Bet Online. They had it's a second chance survivor. They did it to start October. It was after the first month, and they said they started a new survivor contest, and 12,000 people entered. So it ended up being $251,000 at stake, winner take all. And like I said, we're down to 980 people or something like that. But you've got to pick the Thanksgiving Day or Black Friday Day games. I couldn't take Detroit or Green Bay because I already took them. I didn't trust Kansas City or Dallas enough in a survivor pick. The game was kind of the way I thought it was, but I thought Kansas City would win, a close, high-scoring game. I don't trust the Philadelphia Eagles tomorrow. I think the Chicago Bears can beat them, actually, outright. So I was like, well, I'm not taking the Cincinnati Bengals, so here we are right now. I didn't really have a choice but to take the Baltimore Ravens. So, like I said, we're locked and loaded in on the Ravens tonight. But I do think they're going to cover the number. I do think this game goes over the number. Like I said, 7 of the last 9 games. We talked about the primetime stuff. And, yes, these primetime Thursday night, Thanksgiving Day games over the years have gone under. But whatever. 7 of the last 9 times that these two teams have played, it's gone over the number. There's a history of both these teams are similar, right? It's not like Baltimore's defense is great either. Baltimore give up 23 points a game. But if you do the math, Cincinnati give up 32 points a game. Cincinnati have given up. If you look at the amount of points that these guys give up, it was a good week for them last week that they only gave up 26 points. I'm not being sarcastic. They gave up 34 to Pittsburgh, 47 to the Bears. Hell, they gave up 39 points to the New York Jets, 33 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's been a common pattern, as you see, that teams just lighting this Bengals defense up, except this is not a surprise. We knew this coming into the year. And Baltimore, but like we said, Baltimore have been more systematic as of late. And we talked about the Derrick Henry props. And if you look at Baltimore, 23 points, 27 points, 28 points, 30 points, during their 5-game win streak, they haven't put up a ton of points along the way. But if you'll notice, Harbaugh has kind of figured it out, right? It's a byproduct of him realizing that the Ravens defense isn't that good. So he's realized, you know what? I'm going to just run the ball. I'm going to prolong things. Let's not get into track meets. Let's keep our defense on the field and put them in a better position when we have the lead instead of finding ourselves in these crazy games. So like they were earlier in the year, right? You can't sort of really fix your defense if your defense is bad. You kind of got to live with it. So what you can do, though, is say, you know what? Let's keep our defense off the field more. So they're doing the national anthem now, so we still have time for some final to get your final plays in here. Let's go with we got to get our touchdown props in, which we did. And now we're going to go Jamar Chase over 7.5 receptions. I think the long field goal prop probably hits tonight, but it is kind of windy there this evening. Ironically enough, it didn't hit in the Cowboy game. You figure with Aubrey it would, but he kicked a 49-yarder and then a couple of other chip shots. But that was a good game, entertaining game. We crushed it as far as the props were concerned, but we were just on the wrong side of the game. So, as I stated, if you look at Jamar Chase's numbers, don't be scared off by the 7.5. And let's go with this Derrick Henry. I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Derrick Henry. Over 18.5 rushing attempts for Derrick Henry and over 91.5 rushing yards for Derrick Henry. And let's go Derrick Henry, first touchdown scorer of the game as well. I don't think Cincinnati are going to be able to stop him, but I think Baltimore are going to have the lead. I think they're going to give Derrick Henry the football a lot tonight. Let's rock. Countdown to kickoff is on.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we're off and running. In-game live, a special Thanksgiving edition of the program. Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope you had a good Thanksgiving so far. You did if you've been betting the overs and the underdogs of these games. And listen, we all thought that the Detroit-Green Bay game, a lot of people thought at least that it would be more of a slugfest, divisional tilt, old school NFC North style. It just turned into an absolute track meet. But the Detroit Lions secondary can't stop anybody, and they're going to be in big trouble playing the Cowboys next Thursday. But Joe Burrow is back. And if not for Joe Burrow's injury, obviously the Bengals would have a better record than they do, but their defense was still flawed with or without Joe Burrow. So we can't call out the National Football League for scheduling this game when they did. And I think it will be an entertaining game, right? The Bengals really don't have anything to lose. They can play loose. They can call, they can call a free-flowing game, not really worried about the consequences. But with that being stated, like I said, Joe Burrow has been kind of rusty in the past when he comes back from these injuries. But big game. All these games are big right now from here on out in the National Football League. Normally, you would say, well, you know what, there's still a lot of football left, but so many teams have the same records for the most part. So every one of these divisional games, conference games, like even if it's like, oh, it's not a massive game for Cincinnati, it's massive for Baltimore, right? Division game, conference game, tiebreakers moving forward. There's going to be a lot of tiebreakers, and we'll get into that as far as the SEC is concerned and college football is concerned, because it is very confusing going into the weekend. There's a million tiebreaker scenarios ready to play out in the college football world. So the Cincinnati Bengals get the ball first. Mark Zinno will join us. He'll be the first up tonight. He'll join us in a couple of minutes. We'll get his thoughts on this game, the Navy-Memphis game, off and running as well. Like I said, Navy have only lost 2 games this year, right? So they're still in the mix to play for the conference championship game. So a very big game for them. And we got a 10-7 game right now. It was a little slow starting. I like the over of this game, and I like Navy plus the points. The total is now 51.5, and Navy are getting 3.5, which is what they were getting right at kickoff this evening. Baltimore getting 6.5 right now already. So if you didn't bet, you get a little less than that hook right now because Cincinnati gets the ball first. But I think this is a good spot to sort of wait it out for Baltimore bettors. The number is going to plummet here. Wouldn't be surprised to see Cincinnati score on the first drive. Teams often score on the scripted drive to start the football game. And then we'll get some value with the Baltimore Ravens. The total's climbed up to 53.5 already early here. We also have not a full slate tonight of games. You know, it's Thanksgiving. Everybody cut into first in the National Football League now. The NHL and the NBA aren't playing today, but we do have a big-time college basketball game. Neutral court game between Arkansas and Duke. This game's at the United Center in Chicago. Arkansas lead Duke right now, 7-3. We just tipped off a couple of minutes ago in this basketball game, so we'll keep our eye on the Arkansas-Duke game. For the record, the game is on CBS tonight if you want to watch that along with us this evening. And we'll keep our eye on this Memphis and Navy football game. Cincinnati Bengals moving the ball right now. Baltimore already down to 4.5. Let the track meet begin, and let my Survivor sweat job begin as well. Listen, I knew coming in that this was not going to be an easy day, right? They make it very difficult, these Survivor contests, where it's not just the week, but they make Thanksgiving and Black Friday its own week. So you only have 4 games to pick from. And also, maybe you've taken some of the teams that have already played. And as I stated, from a Survivor perspective, would you have trusted Green Bay today to win this game if you were in a Survivor this late in the season? Would you have trusted? I think some people trusted the Detroit Lions today. The Lions are just like fraudulent. Like, I don't know if I like to see Dan Campbell's credit card bills because this guy lives in a fantasy world. Like, he calls football games like he's playing Madden with his buddies on the couch. So I imagine this guy like spends money like it's Monopoly money. He doesn't live in the real world. And, you look at the Detroit Lions too. It's funny, like his attitude and, everyone loves Dan Campbell and the gung-ho stuff. It's like, bro, how many points have you left on the field over the last couple of games? You're 0 for 7 on 4th down, but you continuously keep going for it. You continuously leave points on the field, but, oh, no, that's Dan Campbell. Dude, if Nate Hackett did that, man, like, you know what? He'd get run over in the parking lot after.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live game day rolls on. I am Gabriel Morency on the SportsGrid Radio and Television Network. Happy Thanksgiving. I don't know what just happened in the Baltimore-Cincinnati game. I'm unfamiliar with what they just did. I haven't seen it in a long time, but guy kind of kicked the ball through the uprights, and they got 3 points. I think it's called a field goal. Someone should introduce that term to Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions. I'm almost blown away. I'm like, oh, yeah, 4th and 7. It's like 75% of jackass coaches in the NFL would be like, yeah, first drive of the game, 4th and 7 from the 10, let's go for it. But Zach Taylor's always kind of been a safe sort of like conservative guy. But nevertheless, all kidding aside, the Bengals marched down the field, but they settled for 3 points. We got a 3-0 game there. And Navy and Memphis, a fun one going on. We got a 10-7 game. And the midshipmen with the football right now. I'm on the middies plus 3.5. We played the over of this football game. Let's bring in Mark Zinno right now. Happy Thanksgiving, Mark. Thanks for joining us on this holiday special this evening. How's the day been treating you so far?
I'm a little stuffed at this point, Gabe. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I mean, we're on like second round of dessert at this point in time. So, we're just trying to make room for what we have left. But yes, I am on the Ravens tonight, -7. Also having the D's. I wish I would have known they were wearing stupid uniforms before the game kicked off, because if you wear stupid uniforms, you play stupid, and these Ravens uniforms are stupid.
Yeah, you know what? I'm with you. I've pointed it out that every time teams wear these dumbass goofball uniforms that they never wear, they always lose. Yep. They always lose. I saw a team the other day, they were 0-6. I don't know, it was the Steelers. Who was it? I forget who it was. There was a team it was the Saints. I don't know if that's the best analogy, actually, because they lose a lot no matter what helmet they're wearing. But, yeah, the Saints have, their alternate helmet, like Saint fans are like, we're 0-6 all time when we wear these now. The only trend I caught on years ago, Mark, was the San Francisco Giants. When they started, they had those sort of orange or white with the Golden Gate Bridge. Remember the baseball had, the City Connect type stuff or whatever, the alternate jerseys. I swear, bro, they were like 27-4 in them. They wore them every Tuesday at home, Tuesday home games only. And even the players sort of caught on to them that they were like, yeah, we always win. And touchdown Navy. All right, let's roll. But all kidding aside, yeah, I'm with you, Mark, on the stupid jersey stuff. But you expect Baltimore to show up tonight and cover this number, you said?
Like, objectively, I mean, if this number was 8.5, would you think any different than it is at 7? Like if it was Joe Flacco and the number was 8.5, would you look at the game any differently? No, because in reality, Joe Burrow can't help the Bengals defense, which literally, by DVOA standards, is the worst in NFL history. So
I brought it up today. Yeah, Mark. I saw that. Worst since 1978 and worst ever type deal. Yeah.
Yes. So, like, I don't know what Joe Burrow does to stop the Ravens from scoring every time they touch the ball. And I think really that's what it boils down to for me simply is that, like, you know, as much as Burrow can help the offense, the Ravens are going to be able to move the ball all night long on a bad Bengals defense. And with Lamar and the offense getting better and more healthy, this is a spot where I looked at the Ravens and said, look, objectively, they should be a bigger number than this. And I laid the 7, but I also have them in a tease. I had them in a tease with the Cowboys earlier and waiting for the other half to cash at Ravens -1.
Yeah, I'm with you. I've got Baltimore on the back end of some stuff here as well. You can get them at 6.5 in game right now, which isn't a bad spot. It's under that key number because they're down. And look, they didn't overreact too much. Let me just get this in. I'm going to get it in at 6.5 here right now. One more play here. One more play at 6.5. Let's roll.
I don't blame you. I mean, again, I don't know how Cincinnati can keep up. If you're going to get out of a hole, you've got to play keep up. And they can't a lot of field goals here because they're going to be scoring a lot of touchdowns.
All right, we'll reset with Mark. We got some audio issues with Mark Zinno. But, yeah, we talked about the history of these teams when they play each other. 35-34, 41-38, 34-20, 27-24. I'm sort of expecting a sort of 34-20 type of game here this evening. But the history has been track meets between these two teams. And, Mark, I brought it up, both games. I was weary of Detroit and Green Bay. I didn't think it was going to turn into the track meet that it did, but I guess that's my fault for really, I kind of knew, listen, the Detroit Lions secondary is bad. They can't stop anything, right? We saw last week the Giant wide receivers were just running up and down the field on them. We saw today, it was like a track meet, man. Christian Watson was just running right past everybody. Everybody was wide open all the time, and they play the Dallas Cowboys next. Yeah. And then the Cowboy game goes over the number. We'll see if all three end up being track meets today.
I mean, it's interesting when you look at the Lions and the Bills. They're two teams that look a lot worse than we would have thought them to be after 4 or 5 weeks. They look vulnerable. They look beatable. They're losing games at home. They're losing games to lesser opponents. Now, these are two teams still that I believe will be making deep playoff runs. But right now, as you sit here, they're not playing their best football with 5 or 6 weeks left. And that's a little bit alarming for both of those teams.
Yeah, you know what? I think there's a lot of similarities between the Bills and the Lions. They're different but the same in that the Lions can't beat good teams, right? But the Bills can beat good teams, but they lose too many games to bad teams. And they dig themselves a hole because of this. They get the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. So yeah, big weekend.
It's an elimination. I think the loser of that game misses the playoffs.
What do you think of Kansas City being 6-6 right now? They just dug themselves a massive hole.
Yeah, I don't know that they have a path out. I mean, they have to beat the Houston Texans when they play them for a tiebreaker edge, right? Like if they lose that game, they lose a tiebreaker to Buffalo, they lose a tiebreaker to Houston, they lose a tiebreaker to a bunch of other teams. Like it's just,
Jacksonville, yeah.
Jacksonville, I mean, this is just not a very good team, and that's the reality of it. I mean, and oh, by the way, I'll say this. If the Chiefs miss the playoffs with Patrick Mahomes, the conversation about the comparison to Tom Brady and the Patriots is dead and it's over. The only time they ever missed the playoffs was when Brady hurt his knee in week 1. And it was Sam Cassell, I think, was the quarterback. And still they won 11 games that year and missed the postseason. But the comparisons to Brady and Belichick and that dynasty are dead if Patrick Mahomes misses a postseason.
Yeah, the Kansas City Chiefs, it looks like it's an end of an era. It doesn't mean that Mahomes will never win again, but they're going to have to reload, retool this football team, specifically on the defensive side of the football, right, Mark? The last couple of years, because that was always the thing with the Chiefs. Oh, wait till they get Rashee Rice back and they get everybody back and their offense, this and that and stuff. But the last couple of years, Mahomes and Kelsey get the girls and the big money and the media and stuff. But, dude, it was the defense that carried them all the time. You know, Karlaftis was a great pick from Purdue. You know, Chris Jones was just a big-time, big money, big game player. Like, they just had guys that balled on the defensive side of the football. They can't get stops anymore, as we saw today. Like, on third down, they just can't get stops now. Teams just drop back and pick them apart.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they've figured them out. And the reality is for all of Patrick Mahomes' greatness is that, you know, the offense hasn't changed. Everybody has adjusted to it after 3 or 4 years of watching what the Chiefs do and figuring out ways to beat them. And Patrick Mahomes making magical plays is not enough anymore. It's just, you know, when Kelsey became old and guardable in single coverage, the entire offense have changed. And that's really was what changed defenses, because they had to figure out a way to stop him. And everybody else was better on the outside for it. Now that he's guardable, now that he can't get open, now that you can just stick one, you know, measly middle linebacker on him and he's covered, it changed the entire Kansas City offense.
One thing I was surprised today with the Chiefs is how many times they punted from midfield, right? And I don't know if it was a lack of confidence or it was a confidence in their defense, but lack of confidence in the offense. But there were numerous times where it's like, man, they're on their phone 48, they're right around midfield, they're on, you know, the 49 of the Cowboys, and they would punt the football in like 4th and 4, 4th and 5 type of situations. And I've become more cautious in my older age with the play calling, but I thought that they played it too close to the vest today. All right, we'll get into tomorrow's games and some in-game picks with Mark on the other side.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Darren Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
All right, stuff that turkey. Put it on the board. Derrick Henry, first touchdown of the game, plus 325. Sometimes the obvious play actually hits, but as we talked about, we expect this to be a big Derrick Henry night tonight. So we got a 7-3 football game. We're off and running right now. Mark Zinno in the house with us. Mark, the total's now 53.5. And you just talked about it, about Baltimore, even at the 7.5. I got in. I got lucky at the 6.5, but now it's up to 11.5 right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the Ravens defense will eventually, get stops here. Not even eventually, or should get stops more often than not here. But again, I mean, how does this Bengals defense stop what the Ravens are going to do? Derrick Henry just ripped off a 28-yard run for a touchdown. That's probably not the first 20-yard run of the night, or not the last 20-yard run of the night that he's going to have. So, one way or another here, I think the Bengals have a long way to go here to figure out this problem, and the Ravens can continue to score at will.
Did you play Navy and Memphis tonight? Did you play this football game?
I did. So here's the way I diced it. When the line first came out, it was 5.5, right?
Yeah.
And I said to myself that there was no way I was laying 5.5 against the Service Academy, even with a team I think that's as competent as Memphis. So I looked to Memphis because I didn't think they were going to lose the game in a money line parlay situation, where I took Memphis on a money line along with Ohio tomorrow against Buffalo to pair it with a money line parlay at plus 112. I both of those teams I feel pretty confident about winning. Navy's a tough spot. I think that there's every reason to believe that they could win the game, just because, again, they're fighting for a spot in the America Championship game. They still have Army coming up here in 2 weeks. They don't want to, go into a loss, or go into the game with a loss there. And so there's a lot to motivate them. And I just didn't feel comfortable laying 5 at a Service Academy. But Memphis still has something to play for themselves. Theoretically, if they get some help from Tulane losing or whatever, and a couple of things go their way, there might be a way they sneak back in as the Group of 5 leader and get back into the college football playoff conversation.
So tomorrow we got a big day of games. As far as playoff implication games, you got the Egg Bowl, Ole Miss and Mississippi State. Mississippi 7-point favorite, total 62.5 in this football game. What's your opinion on this? Are you betting that? You're going to bet that game?
I hit Ole Miss over 34.5. As a team total bet. In their last 4 games, they've given up 38, 35, 41, and 49 points. That's the Mississippi State defense. In all 4 games, they were in offenses that were nowhere near as good as Ole Miss is. Like, in what world does Ole Miss not score 5 touchdowns in this game? I mean, I know it's too easy, and there's a lot of reason not to like it because it seems too easy, but in reality here, Gabe, like, Lane Kiffin is the guy in this spot, despite all the distractions, that still wants to go out and run it up just to prove a point. And even if he decides to leave, he's going to leave on the highest note possible, winning the Egg Bowl and doing it in convincing fashion. As fun as Mississippi State's been fun to back this year, and as good as they were against the number earlier this year, I don't think they have it in this spot. Ole Miss is too good.
Look at the last month, Mark, with Mississippi State defensively, giving up 49, 41, 35, and 45. Right?
Yeah.
There's been a constant. Mississippi State guys, they're 8-2 to the over in their last 10 home games. And Mississippi have a defense, but I'm with you, Mark. I think people are overdoing the Lane Kiffin distraction thing. Right? The players still have their eyes on the prize here. It's they're bitter rivals. Mississippi State were impressive earlier in the year, but now that SEC play has kicked in, reality has kicked in for them as well. So I'm with you. I think Mississippi are gonna roll them tomorrow, and I think it's gonna go over the number. The game that I'm sort of not flip flop, but I'm a little like, all right, this one's tricky. Is Georgia and Georgia Tech? All right, like for Georgia just keep getting better and better, Mark. Like I think Georgia legitimately they might be the best team. People talk about Ohio State and Indiana all the time, but I think Georgia are good. Like. Old man Stockton, he might have a bigger bald spot than LeBron James does, Mark, but 70% completion rate. He can run. Like their defense has gotten better. There's a lot to like about the Bulldogs, but this is a scrappy Georgia Tech team. But I think Georgia are a lot better than they are. It's 14 points. I mean, they took them to overtime last year. So it's one of those deals where it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia won 40, 45, 28. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, damn, man, this thing's 30-30 with 2 minutes left. What's your opinion on that one?
Well, there's a lot here, right? I mean, obviously the revenge angle for Georgia Tech after last year's loss. Now, remember, this game is at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's not on the campus of Georgia Tech. So there should be a decent amount of Georgia fans there who are able to acquire tickets because of the venue. So that's number one. Number two, you're right. Georgia is playing its best football right now. They're better now than they were in the beginning of the year, whereas Georgia Tech has lost 2 of their last 3. And in reality, you ever hear the premise of losing the same game twice? That's what may happen here to Georgia Tech. They lost to Pitt. Their season is essentially over. There's no path for them to the college football playoff. There's no path for them to win the ACC. And now you got to get up for another game against your rival in clean old-fashioned hate, and one that your rival has won 7 straight years. And it's like, okay, how do you get up for this game after you just lost all that? It's funny because I was talking to people. Obviously, I live in Atlanta. And there was thoughts, some people who don't understand how odds work were saying Georgia Tech would be favored over Georgia. This is back in week 4, week 5, after Georgia had just lost to Alabama.
Yeah.
I'm like, Georgia still would be a double-digit spread favorite over Georgia Tech, and with good reason. So I'm with you. I agree that I think Georgia's the side here. It's a tough number to lay. Brent Key as a head coach has been phenomenal as a double-digit dog, covering nearly 78% of the time as a double-digit underdog. And in fact, he's won a handful of those games outright. So he thrives in this spot as a double-digit dog because he shows his team, we're not okay being disrespected. But all that said, it's really tough for me to believe that Georgia Tech is going to have anything that they're going to be able to do here against Georgia that's going to be successal.
Mark, we got about a minute left here. Your thoughts on Texas A&M and Texas tomorrow night? A lot of tie-breaking and interesting scenarios still up in the air in the SEC right now, but A&M are controlling their own destiny, obviously. We got 30 seconds. Any opinion? Are you going to bet the Aggies or the Horns tomorrow night, or the over-under?
I'll take the Horns. Too much pressure on Texas A&M to finish the season undefeated. Even if they lose, they're still in the SEC title game. So, it doesn't really change much for them other than seeding.
You know what's wild? What just happened here? So Lamar Jackson just threw it up in the air and was returned to the 2-yard line. What the hell was that, bro?
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They loved Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we got a 4th and goal here. And this I don't disagree with. I wouldn't say, I got to kick the field goal here. The Cincinnati Bengals is 4th and goal. You got 3 wins. Just go for it. And they do not get it. Baltimore gets the stop after the turnover. One of the weirdest, sort of interceptions you're ever going to see. Lamar kind of got spun around, and it looked like he wanted to just sort of throw the ball away. Except as he was sort of trying to, Buddy like hit his hand from underneath. It was one of the like weirdest, like unorthodox plays you'll ever see. Like never seen that exact play like that happen before. He kind of spun around and Buddy hit the ball because it looked like Lamar kind of just threw it like a baseball in the air. Like just kind of threw it in the air. But he kind of got hit. But nevertheless, Cincinnati's unable to take advantage of it. Wow. So the total went up, guys, to 57.5. It went up to 59.5. 59.5. My bad. It went up to 59.5 when they were just on the goal line, and it just fell all the way down to 52.5. The difference of the touchdown. Like the computer was convinced, yeah, there's going to be a touchdown right now. But Cincinnati unable to punch it in, and Baltimore are now 10.5-point favorites in the game. I've been transfixed actually by this Memphis Navy game. I like the over in this game. I thought there was going to be points, but it started off a little slow, but it's definitely opened up right now as the Memphis Tigers just scored a touchdown. So it's 17-14 Memphis. We got a minute left right now in the first half. I'm on Navy plus 4.5, and I got an in-game over 52.5. The total is now 61.5 in this game. But I wouldn't be surprised if it just kept on going. So the Bengals and the Ravens are now down to 51.5. And as we mentioned, we've got a big primetime college basketball showcase special going on in Chicago. The Duke Blue Devils are leading Arkansas 36-27 right now. They're laying 13.5. The total is 162.5. Duke are the real deal. Duke are a dangerous team. There's some really good you look at the teams so far this year. We've been watching a lot of college basketball, but Michigan State got it done again. Michigan State are playing really good basketball, and no one's really talking about them. My Michigan Wolverines are playing great basketball. People are talking about them because they kept on winning by 40 points basically every night. But to me, Duke are like, from my eyeball test, I'm like, yeah, Duke and Michigan, they're like the two, I think they're the two best teams. And I'll give credit to Michigan State, even though I don't like them. They're playing great ball right now. You know what's wild with Michigan State? Michigan State beat Kentucky earlier this year, huh? You know what Kentucky's payroll is? $23 million. That's what Kentucky pays in NIL to their players. Nearly $23 million. Like it was like $22.8 million. Michigan State, $3.7 million. Like, I don't know, like, we'll see once the season, starts to play on if Michigan State can keep this up. But people talk about like, oh, Dabo Swinney's a throwback and stuff like that, and he hasn't adapted to the modern game. Michigan State have not. Izzo and Michigan State have not like gotten into the big money stuff. The Michigan Wolverines have, right? Like Michigan are spending a lot of money for their team this year. Like though they have a lot of like high profile transfers and players and stuff. But yeah, super impressive, pretty wild. They only $3.5 million in NIL money. 3.7 or so for Michigan State compared to like 22 for Kentucky, and Michigan State beat them, and they just beat North Carolina today. So yeah, Michigan State are balling so far to start the year. For the record, there's two other games going on as well. St. Louis are up 61-59 on Santa Clara right now, and Dayton are up 48-44 on Georgetown. That one's got like 12.5 minutes left, so that's a bettable game. Dayton are now 4.5-point favorites. The total is 143.5. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens are buried in their own end zone right now with a 3rd and 10 situation, and they do not pick up the first down, so they're going to have to be punting from the back of their end zone. Baltimore now just fell to 8.5 right now. So you know what? I've got to figure Cincinnati will hang around in this game. I expect Baltimore will pull away, but this puts Cincinnati in pretty good field position. They're going to get the ball here. Total is 51.5 right now. I think we're going to get there still, guys. Like, I don't know. Cincinnati didn't score from the freaking goal line on their last drive, but I think they'll score on this drive here. That's a hell of a punt, though. Oh, boy.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said
earlier.
He got hit
behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
In-game live continues. I am Gabriel Morency. We're kicking it on the SportsGrid radio and television network. The Philly Godfather will be stepping up and joining us in a couple of minutes here. So first quarter of play rolling on here. We got about 40 seconds left in the first quarter. 7-3. Cincinnati had the football at midfield. They're already into a third down situation right now. Jamar Chase. We took Jamar Chase over 7.5 receptions in this game. A little bit of a slow start for the Bengals offense when you continue, they haven't really done it. They marched down the field to start the game. They kicked the field goal. They were unable to take advantage of the short yardage situations. And it really is amazing in the modern NFL era. It's very like NBA-like, where they can't play in the paint anymore, right? So, it's sort of, you'll see teams that are going to start to do it, like in the NFL where everybody threw the ball only and they couldn't run. We talked about it for years. Mike Flores, the coach. I talked about it like at a football conference. We'll bring Philly Godfather here in a second, but Flores brought this up about like 5 years ago at a coaches conference, and he said, everyone in the NFL, he was the coach of the Dolphins at the time. He goes, everyone in the NFL, it goes, we're all drafting speed to keep up with the passing game. He goes, there's going to be a couple of smart teams that are just going to go big and run the ball down everyone's throats, and you won't be able to stop it, right? But you see in the NFL now, teams can't score. They could have first and goal from the 2-yard line, and it becomes an effing adventure for them, right? They should just do, even the Eagles. That's why they came up with the tush push. They figured it out. Philly Godfather knows that. Now the Eagles are having problems with the brotherly shove. Even it's not working for them anymore. But I swear to God, though, bro, you see it all the time. First and goal, second and goal, third and goal, stupid play calls. Look at the Lions today, bro. Games on the line, season like your playoff positions at stake. Let's have David Montgomery throw a pass in the traffic. Let's have a running back throw from the 3-yard line, bro. Like, you can't, like, the level of stupidity in the modern NFL, Philly Godfather, is insane, bro.
I guess it's a combination of analytics and the new style of football, the way they're coaching it. But I tell people all the time, you can get rid of 80% of the coaches in the NFL and nothing would change. That's how bad some of these coaches are. I mean, the decision-making during crucial times, the play calling, always going for it on fourth down. Nobody likes to kick a field goal anymore. Nobody wants it. Sometimes, points are at a premium. You got to kick those field goals and grab those 3 points because you don't know how the game develops later on. But it's been a mess all year.
I know people like Dan Campbell's personality, and he is a likable guy, but dude, I kidded earlier, Philly Golf. I'd like to see this guy's credit card bills, because if the way he coaches football games, I imagine this guy's maxing out. He's living in houses he can't afford and stuff. Like, the dude's insane. Like you said, you're down by 10, bro. Figure it out. Make it a 7-point game. Right, they're 0 for 7 the last 7 times they've gone for it on 4th down, and he always says after, "I believe in my players. I believe in my players." Like, good for you. I believe in God. Doesn't mean I'm going to win tonight. You know what I mean? I believe in my players. Well, understand your players then and figure it out that they're not converting, coach.
Yeah, the problem is he's all in all the time, and you can't coach that way. And I hate betting on this team because when I do, I can't even watch the game because I get so upset with his decision making. It's just and they're so banged up. He's got to understand their pass defense is one of the most injured in the NFL this season. I think they're 2nd or 3rd behind the Commanders and maybe the 49ers. So anytime your pass defense can't hold, you got to pick up those points because you don't know what happens, and you're not going to be able to stop the opposing team. Grab as many points as possible and keep the ball moving.
I said the same thing. I tweeted the same thing during the game today, Philly Godfather. I said, I haven't been this mad about a non-Buffalo Bill game in a long time. You lose bets, you get upset for a second, you sort of move on. All right, next game, it is what it is. But I'm with you. I was legitimately just getting enraged today, with the play calling and the decisions by the Detroit Lions, where, like I said, it was almost like I said, if I wanted to feel this pain, I could have watched the Buffalo Bill game. They're the same. They're the same team. I swear to God, these organizations are the same, Philly Godfather.
Yeah, they look a lot the same, and they're really banged up. I mean, both teams have, their injuries with their pass defense, and they both have solid quarterbacks. Even though I think the Bills are the better team, and going into the playoffs, if they get a little healthier, regardless of their 7-4 record, I think they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs. The Patriots, on the other hand, one of the luckiest teams in the NFL this season. Every team they face since week 1, they've had a health score advantage of +7 or above. And they just keep running into these banged up teams and they keep winning. So they don't really scare me too much. I think this Patriots team is going to be more like one and done in the playoffs. Buffalo Bills are still going to be dangerous. But again, it's a war of attrition in the NFL. And as we've seen year to year, the teams that are the healthiest going into the playoffs do the most damage.
What did you do? Did you bet this game tonight with the Bengals and the Ravens?
Yeah, I mean, I can't bet against Joe Burrow, man. He's one of the better guys in the market. Anytime he's a 3-point underdog or more, I think he covers the spread 85% of the time. And Lamar Jackson, he's always good for a couple brain cramps. That Ravens offensive line hasn't been the best this year, mediocre at protecting the quarterback. I think they're 17th or 18th in sacks this season. And this is the Bengals Super Bowl here. If they lose this game, they got a slim chance of making the playoffs. But if they lose this game, they're completely done. So I took the +8. It was just hard to pass up with the Bengals tonight.
Yeah, when you get these teams that are playing with house money, they really have nothing to lose, right? That's why I was amazed they were unable to score. They got the gift on the goal line, unable to convert that. Man, unbelievable. But so both games went over today. What'd you think of the Cowboys and Chiefs game? Chiefs are in big trouble, man, as far as the playoff picture is concerned, for real. They got teams ahead of them. All the teams ahead of them actually already beat them for the most part. And now you got a smoking hot Cowboy team that, let's give them credit, man. You beat the Super Bowl participants from last year in a 4-day span, Philly Godfather. Coming off that Raider win. Okay, fine, it was only the Raiders, but you have to start to take the Cowboys serious right now with the revamped defense that they have, with all the new additions and the players back from injury.
Yeah, and over recent play, I think their opponent yards per play has dropped more than a half a yard per play. So that's big. Their defense is getting better. They're getting healthier. They got 2 quality wins back-to-back against, the Eagles and the Chiefs. So this team going into the playoffs, if they continue to play this way at that elevated, level, that offense, top 5 in the NFL in points per game, yards per play, it's a very dangerous team. Teams like the Cowboys, coming out of the NFC East where they're undervalued and all of a sudden, they're putting up points like it's nobody's business. They're a very dangerous team, Gabe.
I'll tell you what, 1 week from tonight, guys, the Dallas Cowboys are in Detroit. That's a big-time game. the Detroit Lions are in the same kind of position that the Cowboys are in for the most. They're ahead of the. This is like an eliminator game essentially. Like the Lions are on the verge of like missing the playoffs right now, and the Cowboys are trying to play themselves into this picture. For the record, the Cowboys are getting 3.5 points total, 54.5. We'll hit the Bears and the Eagles game. I look forward to Philly Godfather's take on this one. On the other side, we got a break coming up in about a minute or so here. But what do you think of the card this week in the NFL? Have games jumped off the screen at you for Sunday's card?
I mean, it's a lot of ugly games in the NFL. I kind of like the Bears a little bit. Everyone's talking about them being a fraud, but you're grabbing 7 points with a team that can put up points. They're scoring like crazy. They're top 5 in yards per play. They're a very dangerous team, and the Eagles got a lot of internal issues, a lot of infighting in the locker room. A lot of people aren't happy with Jalen Hurts right now.
Yeah, you know what? The Eagles just aren't the type of team that you can feel comfortable with laying 7 points. Like you said, people kind of feel as if though Chicago are fraudulent, but you kind of are what your record says you are when you get this far into the season. Chicago remind me of last year's Washington, right? You know what I mean? They're just sort of that team. Everything is going, you know what I mean? Like everything went Washington's way last year. Jaden Daniels, the greatest thing ever, and all that type of stuff. And every year you sort of have the upstart team. This year it's the Chicago Bears, but Ben Johnson's doing a great job, and it's hard to argue that Detroit aren't missing him right now. But I tell you what, Dan Campbell shouldn't be calling the plays. I mean, he's bringing it upon himself.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I
He
said
got
earlier.
hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
All right, this Thanksgiving special continues. I am Gabriel Morency. We're kicking on the SportsGrid Radio and Television Network, Roku Television, and more. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. All right, we got the Philly Godfather in the house with us, and you got the Philadelphia Eagles and the Chicago Bears playing tomorrow. And to me, Philly, I think there's a little bit of an overreaction. Listen, I don't have to tell you, you're in Philadelphia, so you guys are generally crazy. It's a toxic market to begin with. So I don't think the sky is falling on the Eagles as much as like people in Philadelphia kind of make it out. But at the same point in time, it's not so much just about like the Eagles. It's about there's other good teams in the NFC right now, right? So it's not just about the Eagles, like including the LA Rams, a team that I know you liked before the year started. And right now, as of right now, the Rams, if this is college football, the Rams would be the number one ranked team in college football or the NFL if there were like power rankings or, ratings, etc. But maybe the Rams are peaking too early, but the Rams do look like the best team in football right now, Philly Godfather.
I mean, they're the odds-on favorites to win a Super Bowl. And again, this Eagles team, a lot of issues in the locker room, kind of reminds me of what happened about 2 years ago. If you guys remember, there was a lot of infighting. And then down the stretch, they went 1-6, and they got bounced by the Buccaneers in the first round of the playoffs. So, and people keep talking about how this Bears team is fraudulent. But the Eagles aren't too far behind, man. They got a bunch of quality wins on the season. But when they played the Chiefs, the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Packers, and the Lions, their health score advantage was, I think, an average of +8 or better. So, they've been catching teams at the right time. And this Eagles team has been one of the most fortunate teams in the NFL. I think they're ranked 4th in luck ratio. So a lot of things have been bouncing their way to kind of conceal the issue that they have. They can't run the ball. They're 25th in the league in yards per rush attempt. Their offensive line isn't the same. They're having a hard time protecting Jalen Hurts. This isn't an 8-3 team that that the media is portraying as a Super Bowl contender. In my opinion, this might be a year where the Eagles are one and done in the playoffs. They're just not that good. When you start digging a little deeper, they're just not that good, man.
I'm with you with the Bears plus the 7. Are you going to grab a piece of the money line as well? Is this an upset special? I think it could be. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bears win this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. It's hard coming in Philly and winning. I mean, this Bears team, number one in turnover differential, and they're ball hawks. And the issue is Jalen Hurts doesn't throw a lot of turnovers. So I don't know if they can win the game, but the +7 is definitely in play for me.
A lot of big point spreads on Sunday this week. It's a chalky week. Rams lay double digits on the road. They're laying 10 in Carolina. The Seattle Seahawks are laying 11.5. It should be noted that Max Brosmer will be starting for Minnesota. So they've got big-time quarterback and injury issues. The Vikings, they're getting 11.5. Chargers are 9.5-point favorites against the visiting Raiders. Buffalo, big game for the Buffalo Bills to get back on track. But Buffalo have a tendency of playing better against good teams than they do against bad teams for whatever reason. So I'm expecting the Bills to show up. I'm seeing it's an even 3 right now. And pretty much a must win. Like, you know what I mean? Buffalo are a lot like Detroit. Like I said, like, they can't, it's one thing, okay, we slip up, but they got to start to string together a couple of wins just to get some breathing room in the playoff race here. I like Buffalo laying the 3 on Sunday. What catches your eye on Sunday right now, Philly Godfather?
I think Seattle blows Minnesota out. I think it lines up to 11. The nucleus of that team may be the best in the NFL. I think they got the 4th or 5th best odds to win the Super Bowl. As long as Sam Darnold doesn't keep throwing interceptions, they're a very dangerous team. In Minnesota, I mean, they kind of know their season's over. We bet them before the season started under 9.5 wins. And with that backup quarterback, I can't see them staying within a number. I think Seattle blows that team out by at least 14 points. I'm with you with Buffalo. Pittsburgh's kind of fugazi. They've caught some teams at the right time. This is a big game for Buffalo. They got to win this game. I also like the Chargers here. It looks like a big number, but it's a big number for a reason. I think that's another. I think a lot of the favorites are going to be covering the number this week, Gabe.
College football, before we get you out of here, we got a couple of minutes left. Obviously, it's a big weekend of college football. Ravens, big first down. They just crossed midfield right now. 9.5 left in the first half. But rivalry week in college football. So you got a full slate of games on Friday, and then, of course, the massive showdowns on Saturday as well. Although big games tomorrow, man. Texas A&M and Texas, a big one tomorrow night. But Michigan and Ohio State. As a Michigan fan, Philly Godfather, I can tell you I'm just hoping that the weather is as terrible as they're saying it's going to be, because I think it is an equalizer. The way to beat Ohio State is to run the ball right down their throat, right? Don't go sideways. Just attack them. They bully everybody. You got to bully them. And Michigan have had success doing it, right? Over the last 4 years, it's been the same recipe. Run the ball right down their throat over and over again. They're getting double digits. What do you think about the college football card before we get you out of here?
I mean, Ohio State opened up 12.5. It's down to 9.5. Total's floating around like 44. I mean, the crowd's going to be electric in Michigan. 10 points feels like a ton, to lay on the road in that kind of atmosphere for Ohio State. And, dogs are always live in bad weather. I've been talking about it for years. I'm just not sure. Is that linebacker playing for Michigan? What's his name? Hausman?
Bresden. I don't think he is. Yeah. They're being secretive, but Coach Moore said it doesn't look good. Like that was the touchdown Baltimore. He dropped the ball, but he was already in the end zone. So we got a touchdown Baltimore. Isaiah Likely touchdown. I believe Mark Zinno said earlier that he needed some Isaiah Likely action. Yeah, it's supposed to be like they always say, snowstorm this and that and stuff, right? But they always over exaggerate it. So I don't get too crazy. But you know what's crazy about this, Philly Godfather? I know this, watching this rivalry my entire life is people think Ohio State and Michigan and it's going to be the smash mouth game. 9-1 to the over the last 10 times they played, Godfather. Michigan and Ohio State. Dig down deeper. It's amazing. Last year it was 13-10. But don't forget, Michigan's offense last year was terrible, right? So it was a little bit of a different scenario. But 9-1 to the over, bro.
Yeah, it seems like it's a low total this time. It's at 44. If you do like Michigan, maybe in the first half +6. But as the game progresses, it's going to be harder and harder to cover that number. But if the weather gets better, anything's possible, and they could win the game that way.
Silly Godfather, always good. Happy Thanksgiving, my man.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
You just can't make this up. Like now we've had 14 points that could have, should have been, that weren't. Cincinnati Bengals had the ball on the 2-yard line. They end up going for it on 4th and goal. They can't score. They were gifted the ball as well, it should be noted. Like they were basically gifted the ball on the goal line after a turnover. They don't score. And we were going to the break. I said, all right, there's the Isaiah Likely touchdown. Isaiah Likely scores. But I said he did kind of drop the ball, though. But I think it's a touchdown. They ruled a touchdown. Boom, they did not rule it a touchdown. They took it off the board. Right? That's the second time that happened today. And in fact, Bet365 actually paid out today for Dak Prescott so quickly. His Dak Prescott's touchdown prop was 1.5 today. And he had one touchdown early, and then he threw, if you guys remember, who was it? I think it was it the tight end? Oh, there's a big play to Jamar Chase. It might have been to Ferguson. Like there was, I think it was. He caught the ball in the end zone, looked like a great catch, but he didn't get a second foot down. Bet365 graded it a touchdown and paid people so damn quickly, and then they came back from the break and they're like, yeah, it's not a touchdown. So it's amazing how quickly these books are grading. He ended up going over the number anyways after. So I don't know if they probably figured, all right, we're not going to take the money back from people because let's wait and see what happens until after the fact. But I thought that was pretty wild tracking that live. But the fact that I'm on the Baltimore Ravens tonight in a survivor situation, I knew that this was going to somehow be a stress job. You know what I mean? There's going to be ebbs and flows in this game. I've had a lot of close calls along the way. Remember the Denver Bronco Raider game? I had that in a survivor. I think that was the Thursday night that we were on. I was on the Detroit Lions last week against the New York Giants. The game went to overtime. So, at this time of the year, you never really expect a smooth ride, but Baltimore are leaving points on the field here. Cincinnati have been pretty sloppy early in this game, and Baltimore really have not taken advantage of it. And it should be 14, whatever. I guess it should be 14-13, really. It was Cincinnati screwing up on the goal line. So, long story short, this sucks for overbettors right now. And I see our boy Gino saying that this game sucks. Listen, I'm not into this game sucks mode yet. I'm into this game is frustrating mode right now. Sort of like I said, for an overbetter and someone I'm like, yeah, there's going to be points in this game. We were cruising along here. Guys, the in-game total is down to 44.5 right now. A lot of points have been left on the field. Second half has just started in Memphis, Tennessee. The Memphis Tigers are up 17-14 on Navy. Navy gets the ball here to start. They're getting 3.5. The total is 58.5 right now. I think Navy's going to find a way. I don't know if they win the game outright, but I think Navy plus the 3.5 is the play. I'm on them plus 4.5. Maybe it's because I just watched the movie A Few Good Men on TV the other night, and I got subliminally influenced. But Navy are really playing for something for real still. They can still play in a conference championship game. But I will say, I think a lot of this playing for something stuff gets overblown. Everybody's trying, right? It's oh, they need the game. Right? We always talk about that. If a team needs the game at this time of the year, it means they're not a great team. Oh, they need the game to get into a bowl game. Kansas City Chiefs today were a great example of that. Right? Oh, big game for the Chiefs. They need the game. Well, they didn't win. They needed the game. The whole they need the game, want the game type stuff is a big, massively overblown and over-discussed in our industry. There's another catch for Jamar Chase. So like we said, we like Jamar Chase over 7.5 receptions this evening. He's up to 4. What did I say that when I gave the pick at the top of the program? And we did already hit Derrick Henry, first touchdown score at plus 325 tonight. But I said, man, it sounds high at 7.5, but I bet you Jamar Chase probably has 6 in the first half. Well, he's up to 4 right now. We'll see if we can get that touchdown. They just threw it in the end zone, but incomplete. We'll see if they get a touchdown here or not. It'll bump that total back up. It's up to 46.5 suddenly right now. Man, this thing hit as high as 59.5, and it went down to 44.5. Really quick start, and then just sort of hit the wall. Now the Bengals run the ball now, so we're going to have a 3rd and goal coming up from the 5-yard line. Baltimore down to 4.5 right now. And as far as the basketball game is concerned, Arkansas have gone on a run. And in fact, Arkansas just hit a 3 and have taken the lead on the Duke Blue Devils. So you know what? We got an interesting second half of college basketball coming up. We'll check that out and give you a play for that on the other side. Let's roll.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I
He
said earlier.
got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
All right, in-game live continues. I'm Morency. It's a strange game going on right now. Strange game. 9-7 for the Cincinnati Bengals. They settle for another field goal. Baltimore now laying 6.5. The total is 45 and a half. The college football game is actually more entertaining right now. And let's bring in Guns Picks, who joins us every Saturday. And he'll join us Saturday, but we figured we'd talk about the big Friday games as well with Guns. And Guns, I don't know if you pulled the trigger on this Navy and Memphis game, but I'm on Navy plus the points, and I got an over 52.5 in game here on this as well. 9 minutes left in the third quarter of play. Navy with the football right now. Looks like it's a type of game that's going to come right down to the wire, and it could be one of those who has the ball last wins type of games.
Yeah, I took Navy at plus 4.5. I actually got it last night at plus 4.5 at minus 115. I thought that was good value on this game. I mean, it was plus 3.5 in a lot of books, but like Navy has something to play for, right? And I know they haven't played well on the road. They haven't played well as a dog, but they're going against the Memphis team that, quite frankly, hasn't played well in probably the last 3 weeks. So I thought this was a perfect spot to go grab Navy. So that's what I did at plus 4.5. And right now they're down 3, and they're playing very well. And I think methodically how this offense runs, they're going to do work and at least cover the spread.
All right, we got a big-time college basketball game going on, and I've had my eye more on the football game and both football games, to be honest with you. But I'm tracking. I got a bunch of player prop bets going on in this Duke and Arkansas game, but Duke were up, relatively big. They started to pull away after a slow start, but here come the Hogs here in the second half, Guns. They've outscored the Blue Devils 15-6 in the second half. Duke are down to 3.5 right now. The total is 163.5. What do you think about this game? Have you been watching this at all?
I have. I'm a Duke fan, by heart. I mean, you know me on this show as being a Notre Dame football guy, but from a basketball perspective, I'm a Duke fan. And what I know about Cam Boozer is kind of the one that kind of drives the momentum of this team. And he is a bad starter in the first half. In the second half, of course, they get a little bit higher. But you have to know about Duke is when they're a double-digit favorite, they have covered spreads. I think they're 6-0 this season against the spread against anybody that they face. So I wouldn't count out this Duke team. I didn't bet the game, of course, because I'm a fan. And Arkansas is a tough opponent, and they're covering spreads left and right too. But this is a game I stayed off of. But like I would say, if I had to get in on the second half, I would have taken Duke, but I didn't get there. So I would say like Duke as a double-digit favorite is legitimate, but I passed on this game.
You know, the thing with Duke, though, is they really haven't played anybody besides, what was it, Texas, right? The first game. And even that, sorry, the Kansas game, the first game. So that's their win, the Kansas game. Listen, I think Duke are the real deal. So I'm not like diminishing. I think they are legitimately one of the best teams in the country. But I was scared of this game too. You know, part of me was worried that Duke could just blow them out. And we saw Duke, like you said, they won that game by 15 against the Jayhawks. But Arkansas can ball. We got a 50-47 game right now. Total 162.5. Still 15.5 minutes left in the game. So we'll keep our eye on this. I wanted to see the foul situation here, but we're out of commercial break there. So NFL football, Guns. We got all kinds of action going on.
Let's go.
It's not a ton of action, but we got one, college football, NFL, college basketball, etc. What do you think of the NFL game right now? What's your opinion on this? Who did you take tonight?
Well, I cashed the over on Green Bay and Detroit, and of course, like I did take Kansas City and lost that one, but the over did hit for me. Like a lot of overs, but I did take the under in Baltimore and Cincinnati because I thought the Cincinnati defense was they were playing very well. At least the last 2 weeks, they held a good I want to say Notre Dame, but like New England team to 26 points and a lot of turnovers in that game. And of course, Baltimore in the last 5 weeks has played very good on the defensive side since it got healthy. So I felt like it was going to be a lower total at 51.5. And I also leaned towards Baltimore, but I hated the spread, and I put them in a couple teasers. I like Baltimore and Philly in a teaser, and I took Baltimore and Green Bay at +9, and I thought that was some value. And right now, Green Bay did hit. So I'm going to be watching this Baltimore one on the teaser. The -7, I think it went up to -7.5 at the close. It just didn't hit me right. So, especially with the offense, with Jackson, seemed like he's not himself currently. So, I put him in teasers, but I didn't take him on the spread.
They've been running the ball a lot more the last, the 5-game win streak. I think they're trying to keep their defense on the field. And like you said, Lamar isn't 100%. This year, you could tell he's slowing down a little bit, or he's got some nagging injuries that continue. We'll hit the college in a minute, but what's your take? Are you going to bet the Bears and the Eagles game tomorrow? It's hard to trust the Eagles laying 7 points the way that they're playing right now, and it's hard not to be enticed by the Bears getting 7 points, right? And we've seen though, right? Carolina goes San Francisco, they fall short. Right, these sort of inferior teams will go on the road, the sort of like, all right, we got to prove it games, and they often implode, and they can't meet the moment. I don't really think the Bears though will be nervous or choke or anything like that. Caleb Williams, a confident guy. Ben Johnson, super cocky and confident. Like they've got an edge to them. There's a lot more pressure on the Eagles. The Bears are having a good year. Meanwhile, people in Philadelphia are losing it, right? Even though they're the Super Bowl champs. What, at 3:00 start tomorrow? What do you think of that game? Is that a touchdown? Wait, sorry. I don't want to get carried away with a touchdown because I already told you guys Isaiah Likely had a touchdown before. So Zay Flowers just caught a touchdown. He kind of dropped the ball, to be honest with you, out of the end zone after. But there's a flag on the play. I think it's on Baltimore.
No, it's close on that one. Is that Zay? That's Zay Flowers.
Yeah, Zay Flowers. Offensive pass interference.
And they pushed off,
I got to see it again. God, the officiating has sucked today in the NFL. But, all right, sorry. Go on, Guns.
But if you want to talk about the Bears in Philly for a second, I'm not going to be jumping on the Bears wagon right now, even though they've won, 7 out of the last 8 or something like that. This is a team that has faced the 30th toughest strength of schedule, and they're going against a Philly team that has faced the second toughest strength of schedule. So everybody wants to devalue Philly, but that defense is playing absolutely tough, holding opponents to under 20 points per game in a lot of cases. But when we look at the Bears, they're playing absolutely nobodies going into this game. Now I have to go on the road against a Philly team that is off a detrimental loss in a divisional opponent in Dallas that is on the the uptick. I mean, Philly is the spot on this one, but I hate the spread on this one, like at -7. So what I did is I took Baltimore at -1 and I took Philly -1 and I put them in a teaser. And I think like Philly is a perfect teaser leg to put with a couple of teams. And if you didn't get on the Baltimore wagon, go take the Colts. The Colts are in a perfect position to go get a win as well. And you can get some value on that one on a teaser, taking them down to I think -1 or -2 or something like that. So like taking the Colts or taking the Baltimore, if you got there early with Philly. Philly is a perfect teaser leg, in my opinion.
You know what? If you look at the Bears this year, they have had a great year and are 8-3 straight up, 7-4 against the spread. But if we put it in college football terms, as Guns was just stated, they don't have any quality wins, right? No. They've beaten bad teams. They've handled it, and they've played a lot of close games even against the bad teams. But, really, their best wins against the Pittsburgh Steelers, right? I mean, they went to Minnesota, but Minnesota's not Minnesota this year. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
They have some quality wins. You're right.
They lost at Detroit. They lost at Baltimore, right? Those are the sort of two tough games that they played, and they did lose them both. More with Guns on the other side. Another field goal coming up. Great.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They love Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I said earlier.
He got hit behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be, even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Whoa, Nelly, as Keith Jackson used to say. 57-52, Arkansas right now. They got a 5-point lead. Duke are really struggling to score suddenly here in the second half of this game at the United Center. The Hogs have a 5-point lead and all the momentum right now. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens end up punting the football. I thought, all right, you're going to get in the field goal range here. No, they end up punting the football. Total is 45.5 right now. The Ravens are laying 3.5 in this game right now. And meanwhile, a turnover in the college football game. Navy, let me see what's going on here. Guns, you just said, so what happened here? They turned it over on the one?
Yeah, Memphis got the ball back on a fumble from Horvath. So like Navy was at the goal line, but Memphis got the ball back. So I mean, for the under betters, everybody's happy. But if you're an over better, you are probably throwing turkey at your TV right now.
And think about it too for an over better too. In this Raven game, you're on the under, but think about it too. Like the Bengals get the turnover, they're inside the 5, they don't score. They go for it, they don't score. Isaiah Likely scores the touchdown, they don't score. Like the touchdown doesn't stand, right? It's like Zay Flowers scores a touchdown, right? Oh, touchdown Zay Flowers doesn't count.
Nope.
Like it's even worse. Like it's one thing to lose, like if you lose a bet. It's worse though as a fan or a bettor. Like it's the double T's, bro. Like you know what I mean? Like you celebrate, oh, touchdown. You're like, yeah. Like you get into it, you celebrate, and it's like, oh no, you got to be kidding me. And it's happened a lot today, actually. And I'm always on the wrong side of it. It seems like I'm on Navy, so of course they fumble on the goal line. Why? Well, why not?
It's not even the side. Like if you're cheering for a total and you're cheering for an over, and you're seeing teams like methodically driving down the field and getting yardage and getting to red zone territory, and then like you can kick a field goal here if you want to on 4th down, but it's 4th and 2, and the analytics tell you to go for it. And of course, those guys don't want to run the ball; they want to pass the ball. And of course, things happen in those manners too, and that really kills a total on that one. So it's very hard these days to bet because of the computer nerds telling them to do 4th down stuff or whatever instead of taking field goals and taking points.
So let's get into some college football. We've got a full slate of games on Friday. We'll hit Saturday's games Saturday, but Texas A&M and Texas is the big one on Friday night.
Yep.
Mississippi and Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl. Earlier in the day, we had Mark Zinno on earlier, and it's funny because you brought up the Ohio Buffalo game, and he told me, I asked him about college football, and he goes, actually, I like that Ohio Buffalo game a lot tomorrow. And
yeah,
I got to tell you guys, it's always dangerous like at the Buffalo Bulls. They'll break your heart more than the Buffalo Bills will. I'm warning you now, but talk to me, Guns. What are you looking at in the morning tomorrow?
It's funny that you mentioned Mark Zinno because we talk regularly. Like we're on a text thread with one each other. We say happy Thanksgiving. We say I love you, bro. It's like I'm going to see you at the Army-Navy game in a couple weeks. I mean, one of my guys right there. But like if we're looking at Texas A&M and Texas, I'm probably looking towards the total in this one because we have 2 good defenses in this one. I mean, Texas has one of the top 5 defensive rush defenses in this one. I know Texas A&M can pass the ball with Marcel Reed, but this is rivalry type stuff. It was 17-7 last year, the outcome in this one. But you have Texas A&M as the favorite when they were a dog last year, and I know Texas A&M is an undefeated team in this one. Texas pretty much has nothing to play for, but they're playing in Austin, Texas. They're playing in their home stadium. It has a different environment on this one. And I know the over is 4-0 on the road for Texas A&M, but these are 2 different defenses, 2 different animals. Am I going to bet this one? I don't know yet, but I think there is an under validity in this game.
Georgia and Georgia Tech are playing at the Mercedes-Benz, so it's not in Atlanta. It's in Atlanta, but not on campus. Like so, it's not a real home game. Neutral field. Georgia have really dialed it up. Georgia Tech can't stop anybody. That's their big problem right now, and it's been a problem for them all year. Actually, their defense, the wheels have fallen off. It's a lot of points to lay in a rivalry game, but I kind of get the feeling that Georgia are going to drill them. And then, you got the Ole Miss against Mississippi State. Same thing. Mississippi State's defense can't stop anybody. Everybody's talking about the Lane Kiffin distraction, but they're not really talking about Mississippi State's bad defense. What do you think about those games?
I mean, Georgia Tech really is what I'm keyed in on. And this is like the first time in, I don't know, probably 10 years that this game is in a neutral field, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, maybe a warm-up game here for Georgia if they get to the SEC championship. And I think there is some motivation in this game where Georgia Tech may not have it, regardless of the environment and the rivalry in this game. But like Georgia Tech is one of those teams that I never was high on. I think they're low in the power rankings. You look at their strength of the schedule, it's like in the 60th. But Georgia is in the top 10 as far as their strength of schedule in this one. And Georgia Tech is a run-oriented team. They're 8th in rushing yards per carry, and they're 13th in rushing yards per game. But they're going against a Georgia defense that is 13th in opposing rush yards per carry, only giving up 3 yards per carry, and they're 7th in the country in opposing rush yards per game. And they're going against SEC type of teams. So I think Georgia has the advantage in this one. This is why they are a double-digit favorite against a ranked team. So I love Georgia in this one at minus 13.5, and I know that line's going to be higher than that on Saturday. So if you get a 13.5, go grab it. Georgia, the Bulldogs, give it to me, 13.5.
I agree. I think they're going to roll them. And, you know, it's weird, right, with that SEC Conference Championship game stuff. You're better off not playing in the conference championship game. What do you have to gain?
Correct.
Like, if you're a playoff caliber team, like if you're Ole Miss, all right, you win, you're in the playoffs. It's like whether you go to you go to the conference championship game, it's another game you got to play. You expose yourself to injuries.
A&M's in the same boat. Like there's a bunch of teams in the SEC that you could probably have 3 or 4 teams that are in the college football playoff.
Like I wonder with
playing the SEC championship. So
I wonder if you're Kirby Smart. He wouldn't say it publicly, but I wonder if he's like, I don't even want to play. I don't care about the SEC Conference Championship game. Right?
What,
I'm not saying he wants to lose against Georgia Tech. No, I'm not saying he doesn't care. No, he doesn't care about. I would say he cares about killing Georgia Tech, but they have nothing really to gain from it. But for the record, Georgia would be in the conference championship game. All they got to do, they got to beat Georgia Tech, and they need Auburn to beat Alabama. Or Texas to beat Texas A&M, and they would get in. Guns picks. We'll see Guns on Saturday for the big games.
He's the fan favorite. They love talking about Stafford, the 38-year-old guy. He's the Super Bowl champ. We got the family. Any opportunity to pump McVay and Stafford as a team, they do that. They love this team. They loved Aaron Donald, and rightfully so. Best defensive player, but they love to pump up Stafford.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Duke, you got to look at Cam Boozer. 18 points. The Bruiser, I may call him. 18 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. I know he shot the ball 1 of 4 from 3, but he's showing his ability to really be a different player than his dad. A little bit more dynamic, a little bit more athletic.
College Basketball Today, only on SportsGrid.
Ashton Genty has been hit behind the line of scrimmage more than any player in the National Football League. Yep. So you just gave him the ball in the end zone. Do the math. How's that going to work out?
It's like what I
He
said
got hit
earlier.
behind the line of scrimmage. He got tackled in the end zone.
Yeah.
Oh, they're terrible. But the thing is, Brady, you draft offensive linemen before you draft a star running back. Like they went backwards.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Goff and Mahomes were never taken serious. Hurts won't be even if they're the 1 seed. Jonathan Taylor plays running back. Stop. Mahomes lost the head-to-head to Josh. Can I confidently eliminate every single person booked behind Josh Allen to at least beat out Josh Allen? So I'm in a head-to-head with Stafford May?
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Well, things are getting interesting for the Baltimore Ravens, including myself, who have them in a Survivor contest. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I can't cry about it. Like, whatever, dude. I was thinking about taking Kansas City, actually. They ended up losing, right? So Lamar Jackson just lost the ball, and this is where the forward progress rule sucks. And I say this to someone on Baltimore. That's a fumble. Like, that's not a pass, right? Like, but the thing is, how do you say that's a fumble? Like honestly, like how do you say that's a fumble when you talk about the forward progress crap all the time? Like you can't. Yeah, look at Harbaugh saying that's bad. That's so bad. That's what he's saying to the referee right now. Listen, in the real world, I think that's a fumble. But we all live in this world where if you're going forward, it doesn't matter. He was going forward and the ball slipped out of his hand and fell forward. It fell forward. Was it pretty? Like you can't, this isn't figure skating. We're not like aesthetics about, in the past. I'm surprised they didn't overturn that. Whatever, the way this game is going, Cincinnati will just kick a field goal anyways. They can give these guys the ball on the half-yard line, they won't score. So it's 9-7. Baltimore really screwing this thing up and making it adventurous for themselves. I'll tell you that. It's one of these deals where I don't like the forward progress rule. There's a lot of rules I would change in the NFL. I've got there's a list of them. I think the ground should be allowed to cause a fumble. Another one, too. That's the dumbest thing ever. Oh, his elbow hit the ground. Who cares? He dropped the ball. Like, you got to hang on to the ball until the play's over, right? Oh, no, it's like we come up with all these stupid rules. The reception rules I would change and stuff, but the forward progress stuff is dumb, but don't, arbitrarily not follow your own rules. The ball went forward. His arm was going forward. We all know that he dropped the ball, but whatever, dude. You sent Tom Brady to the Super Bowl, right? Like, I got to tell you, the officiating today in the National Football League has been terrible all day. The Detroit game with Green Bay. Listen, Detroit deserved to lose. Green Bay were the better team, but they got like a gratuitous touchdown. There was a penalty. They were going for it. They were going for it on fourth down. It would have been a false start. Like, there was a false start. So they would have, blown the whole play up. LaFleur called a timeout after the false start, and they gave it to him. And then, of course, the next play they score on the touchdown. Because, of course, they do. Nearly a hell of a catch. It was a hell of a catch, but it was out of bounds. So now Cincinnati's in a 4th and 6. Like I said, they're going to have to kick a field goal here. It's going to be 12-7 in a second here. Let's see, hell of a catch. Nah, he might not have caught it anyways, but he wasn't in bounds anyways. But yeah, man, the officiating's been bad today, man. Just so many crazy bad calls. For the record, I just took over 155.5 in the Duke-Arkansas game. Man, this is frustrating stuff. As an over better, right? As an over better today. Like, in between the constant frustration of I'm still upset. Like, Dan Campbell, ruined my day today. And it's not that, I lost $1 million on the Detroit Lions or something like that, but it literally just put me in a bad mood. And it was early in the morning, right? The games, I'm on the West Coast. So it was it's early. The games are early. I got the Detroit Lions and a bunch of bets and parlays, this and that and stuff. And I'm just watching this jackass idiot. Dan Campbell really should be working at Applebee's. I know he does the Applebee commercials. He really should be. And I'm not saying he should be a waiter at Applebee's. He should be a manager at Applebee's. And yeah, you know what? I used to coach football. I played football, but now I'm a manager at Applebee's. That's what Dan, I can't do it. I can't, I'm taking the Dallas Cowboys next Thursday. I tell you that. I can't bet on it. You bet on a Dan Campbell coach team, you almost deserve it. Right? The guy, seriously. There are potheads playing Madden right now for money that take it more seriously than, it's not the right term, actually, because he takes it seriously. I'm not saying Dan Campbell doesn't care. I think he cares immensely, but, why is he calling the plays? It's like Homer Simpson calling the plays. You know what I mean? Remember Homer, and he had to, you know what I mean? He drew it up. He put the coach's hat on. Listen, Dan Campbell, fine to be the head coach and stuff, and you're a rah-rah guy, and you get the guys fired up and all that. I'm not saying he's the worst coach ever and fire him and stuff, but, you're not going to win, bro. If you go for it every time, bro, and you refuse to kick field goals, you're 0 for 7, bro. The last 7 times you've gone for it, you failed.